What's up, everybody? Brett Mix here, and welcome to another edition of the Monday Night Wars. This time on the WCW side. Hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying this. Only good stuff forward from here on out. It's the 1997, so the Attitude Era is right in front of us, and it's right begun in front of us as well. This is week 86. Again, the 90th episode of Nitro, but the 86th week they go head-to-head with Raw. Nitro beats Raw for the 49th week in a row. The scores were 3.4 for Nitro this week. Raw drew a 2.2. So they beat them by a whole point. 1.2 to be exact. So 386 weeks in totality. Nitro has 67 wins. WWF has 17 wins. And there's been 2 draws. So this is the winning week of Nitro with a 3.4 rating. Shivani welcomes us to Boston, Massachusetts, June 9th, 1997 on TNT. We open with a shot of the crowd cheering. Pyros go off. The usual Nitro entrance video plays. And we're ready to go. Backstage, Shivani says this is where the big boys play and where you see a limo. All of a sudden, he says, first before the limo shows up, he says DDP and Rodman will wrestle at Bash at the Beach. He says Hogan and Luger are here. The Outsiders versus Flair and Piper in a non-title match later tonight. So the limo pulls up and Savage and Liz get out. But DDP comes and Liz runs away. And Savage goes back into the limo, and DDP puts his foot through the glass window of the limo. And then when DDP's half in the limo, when he opens the door, Liz comes and slams the door right on DDP so he can't go in the limo, and the limo takes off. So Liz runs away, and the limo takes off with Savage in the back. But DDP kicked the window in and broke the window. So Great American Bash go-home show this episode of Nitro is. And Savage Page 2 happens at the Great American Bash. So a lot of build-up there in the very opening segment. To open the matches, we got Juventud Guerrera, Super Calo, and Ultimo Dragon against La Parka, Psychosis, and Silver King in a 6-man luchador tag. Sabisco says he's finally figured out Lucha Libre rules, that there are none. Danae talks about how you can replace your partner if you're out on the floor. This keeps the action constant. Ultimo Dragon up against Psychosis. They'll head to the Great American Bash on pay-per-view. Silver King drops Air Hoovy with a thrust kick, taking back in. Hoovy gets a Hurricane Runner on Silver King, who comes back in the match. Huge drop kick and a springboard by Super Calo to the outside. This match had a lot of frequent tags, so to speak. People just went in because you don't have to tag in Lucha Libre rules. But it ended with Psychosis and Dragon going at it. Thrust kick by Psychosis all the way to the floor. Ultimo Dragon and Psychosis off the top of the Hurricane Run into a Dragon Sleeper, and that's it. As the Ultimo Dragon beats Psychosis and for his team. It was a crazy good spot fest. I rated it 2 stars and a quarter. It was when I say crazy good, I don't mean great. I mean crazy in a out of control type of way. Luger comes out as Mean Gene introduces him and immediately talks about how Hogan hasn't defended the belt since February, and the booking committee says he'll face Luger tonight, so that's huge news. Hollywood Hogan in a match on Nitro. And it's not even during the main event. It's during the first hour main event. Flair says Piper and Flair will be Larry Bird and Bobby Orr here in Boston, and when they take on the Outsiders tonight. That's big names to live up to. Celtics Bird and the Bruins Orr. Alex Wright versus Jericho. Wright comes out posing and dancing, taking on Jericho, who wasn't treated all that great at the time. Alex Wright gets the win. Jericho elbows out of a headlock, hitting a side suplex, but Wright back up catches him in a sleeper. Wright with the crossbody to his feet and cheats to win. He dances on the outside. I rated the match a star and a quarter. Next up, we got a women's title match. Akira Hokuto with Sonny Ono against Malia Hosaka. Medusa meets the ladies champion at the Great American Bash with her career on the line. So after this match between Hosaka and Hokuto, it was Hosaka that gets the loss. Akira Hokuto with Sonny Ono, with him distracting, gets the victory over Hokuto, slamming her down for the 3 count. Medusa comes out and hits a brainbuster and says she'll be the ladies' champion on the Great American Bash. Mean and Gene Okerlund introduces the Steiner brothers. The fans bark. Harlem Heat gets involved, and the Harlem Heat and the Steiner brothers need to be separated. Conan takes on Steve McMichael, but Steve McMichael is jumped in the entranceway by Kevin Green. So Kevin Green and Steve McMichael Mongo will get it on at the Great American Bash. No rating for that match because it never ended up happening. Hogan and Bischoff stand in the ring. Hogan's wearing a white shirt with black NWO paint or text on the white shirt, which is cool because all of the NWO debuted the white shirts with the black NWO written on it. And they do their usual promo about how Hollywood Hogan is the man and Hogan poses, but Luger comes out and Bischoff says, "Wait a minute, Lex, you heard what the man said. Who do you think you are?" Hogan says, "There's no way in this lifetime you can beat me in the squared circle." Bischoff says Lex isn't smart enough and there's no way he can beat Hogan. Hogan says, "You guys got my back, right?" And then they ended up wrestling. Lex Luger versus Hollywood Hogan. The bout is it's a non-title bout. Hogan rakes the back of Luger. Hogan with the back suplex on Lex, the NWO around the ring. Luger racks Hogan and actually makes him tap. Luger beats Hollywood Hogan on Nitro, not for the title, not yet. That's a little spoiler coming up. But Luger gets a victory over Hollywood Hogan on Nitro. And the crowd go crazy. The NWO do a number on Luger after the match. The Outsiders in 6, followed by Hogan. Hogan hits him with like 10 leg drops. Fans chant, "We want Sting." The NWO were on top and they posed as Heenan joins on commentary for hour 2. J.J. Dillon talks about Savage and fining him for that attack a couple weeks ago. $50,000 to a guy like Savage. That's probably $2 million. That's probably like $2 million. He's good with his. I heard he was really good with his money. This is a match where anything goes. Falls count anywhere. The match with him and Page. DDP then comes out as Savage was on the microphone against J.J. Dillon. DDP comes out and says, "Let's do this right now." Savage says, "That's the dumbest movie he's ever made." And Savage says, "Your time has ended." Savage makes it to the crowd and tackles DDP down on the floor. They have to security has to break them up because Savage and DDP are just tearing each other apart. Next up, the U.S. title's on the line. Dean Malenko versus Jeff Jarrett. Different styles clash in this one. Deborah walks in the midway through the match. Double J with a DDT to Malenko and a near fall. Malenko with a half crab. Malenko grabs the arm and the rope and the knee at the same time and drives his elbow, the point of the knee, into the back of Double J. Jarrett went for a figure 4 when slapped on Malenko was in the middle of the ring. Malenko back up, but Double J hits him with a lariat. Malenko focused on his left knee and a power bomb, a Texas cloverleaf, but Double J with an inside cradle, and he kicked out. Good match here. A lariat back into the ring, and all of a sudden Eddie Guerrero comes out. Eddie Guerrero, who's been gone for a couple months with his arm injury, hits a frog splash behind the referee as she was distracted by Deborah. He was distracted by Deborah. And Malenko's down, and Double J puts on the figure 4 and becomes the new U.S. champion. Great match. I rated it 3 stars and a quarter. Double J defeats Dean Malenko with help from Eddie Guerrero. So Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko begin a feud here in 1997, which was a great one. Jimmy Hart introduces Benoit's third and final step to Kevin Sullivan. It's no one else but Kevin Sullivan himself. So the Q cut a promo. They show a sign that says Raw sucks, and it has WCW peeing on WWF. The main event was Ric Flair and Roddy Piper versus the Outsiders in a non-title tag team match, which we'll see again at the Great American Bash for the titles. The Outsiders dominate as they come back from a commercial break. Nash drove his knee into Piper and chokes him out. Hall then goes to Piper and brawls with him in the corner. Piper with a low blow. Six then comes out and the ref calls for the bell. Piper and Flair win by DQ after the NWO basically interfere. Star and a quarter for that. That does it for the match portion of the show. The show ended with brawling as the NWO took over Piper and Flair, stomping on them. The timekeeper kept ringing the bell about 100,000 times during this too. The Horsemen came to the ring to try and even things out with the NWO. Then more NWO members came out. Then more WCW members come out. Kevin Green, Harlem Heat, even Mortis was on at one point. Fans chanting "We want Sting" as the NWO were dominating. Benoit and Sullivan even come out. They're going at it. Luchadors are going at it. Everyone who's scheduled to appear at Great American Bash is going at it. This was one of the craziest endings to a Nitro I've seen. All of a sudden, Sting drops from the roof, and everybody just loses their mind as he arrives. Sting points his bat towards the NWO, and Hogan's scared. Just an epic ending. Sting points his back and then hits the other NWO members with the bat. Then Sting picks up DDP and goes up to the roof and he descends to the roof. Not descends, but he goes up to the roof and he has DDP holding on to him. So DDP flies up to the roof with Sting. Just a cool ending. Quality-wise, I rate this Nitro an 8 out of 10. That's a big rating for me. I don't usually give out an 8 because because of the out-of-control ending. We had a Hollywood Hogan match where Hogan lost, but he still kept the title. Just an excellent go-home show to the Great American Bash. and that's why it did good numbers and it was an overall success. Hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying the Nitro reviews, the Raw is War reviews. Nitro's on a roll right now, and this is one of the best ones. I'm Brett Mix. Hit like and subscribe, and I'm out.